Hello and welcome to How I Play, my level 100 Mage. So let's get into this. So this video builds upon all my other How I Play my Mage videos, from level 50 all the way to level 125, because that video is already out. So this kind of plays off, some of those, and more importantly, it plays off the level 95 video. So if you haven't watched that one, there might be stuff in that one, in the previous ones, that I have not covered, or that I covered and I just don't mention in this video. So we're going to talk about my spells. We're going to talk about the multi-bind that I use. I do multi-box this mage, so some of the stuff is kind of specific to that, but for the most part, you should learn something if you don't know anything about a mage. Let's get into it here. Let me fix this so my targets are work right. Oh, I don't want to save over it. There we go. All right, correct targets. All these characters are personas. Like this character is a 125 monk, so it's they're all personas, so it messes up all the time. All right, my first spell is Twin Cast. Twin Cast allows you to twin cast a spell. Now, what does that mean? That means when you cast it once, it casts twice. Right? Pretty nice. Extra damage. This spell came out at level 85, and it is never upgraded ever again. So the best that we can do is Twin Cast rank 3, which requires us to do, I think, Seeds of Destruction raids, which we will be doing at 125 to pick that up. But that is just, it's I don't even have to rank 2 right now because I'm too lazy to go do whatever that requires. Now I have Relentless Servant. This is our swarm pet. This is my second spell. And in my opinion, one of the most important spells for a mage. At the moment it isn't, but later on it will become the Conjurer's Synergy spell, Remorseless Servant. That's at 105. And every time we cast that, there'll be a 10% chance to trigger the synergy at 105. So this is just something to get used to casting on cooldown, because that synergy is worth it because it will increase the damage of other spells. I need a target here. There we go. So if I cast it on there, it just summons out gargoyles. So you can see, I think you can have 2, maybe 3 of them up at a time. It just varies, like depending on how often you get cast and stuff like that. It's very nice. Next up, I have Salvo of Many. Now, this is probably my favorite mage spell because of how powerful it can range up to. If you look at here and read the description, it deals 4,000 damage for 1 pet. So 1 pet hitting on him is going to do hardly anything at all. 2 pets, you get a little bit less. 3 into 6 pets, you get 17,000. A huge amount of difference there in damage. And then if you have a whopping 7 pets attacking this mob at the same time, the base damage of this spell is 30,000. Now, if you think about it, I've built my group, I've built my group around having as many pets as possible. I got a Shadow Knight pet, that's 1. I got the Mage pet, that's 2. I got the Shaman pet, that's 3. I have the Beast Lord pet, which is 4. So I'm off the top of the, just right starting the thing, I have 4 pets. So I'm doing 30,000 damage without doing anything else. Now you start throwing in swarm pets, and you start getting into that 30,000 range pretty quick. Now, from what I understand, any kind of pet counts. For that 7, I haven't seen it. I see the 30,000. All right, like with this group. Now, the wizard does have his summon little pet that comes out, and that one's pretty nice too. I think it adds to the damage, but for the most part, that is a great spell. Followed by that, I have Fickle Magma. So this will strike the target for 13,900. And it will give me a chance to increase the damage of my next direct damage spell. So it's kind of like a a random chance spell, right? Let's cast it, see what happens. We didn't get a proc. Let me do it again. Didn't get it that time either. I guess it's like fairly rare, I guess. Never really paid attention to it. Yeah, 3 of them didn't get one, so let's try one more. But you can see here, if we look at spell damage, 18,000, 21,000, 75,000 crit, and one of those twin cast, right? Oh, there we go, and another twin cast for or another critical for 74,000. Obviously, it does a lot of damage. Another one, and I'm just not getting lucky on this bonus thing there. So it has a chance to increase the next one, right? So it's kind of a just a gamble. And then finally, I have a Spear of the Blister Steel, which does a 24,000, just a standard nuke, just a like a bolt almost, right? Just shoots out from you. With all my bonuses and all that stuff that I got going on, focuses and stuff, it's 34,000 base damage versus the 24,000 there, and 135,000 crit. So significant damage out of that. Next up, I have the Air Pet. The level 96 Air Pet is the pet I use currently. I'm probably always going to use Air Pets. I like them the best. I don't need Earth Pets. Believe it or not, at 125, the Air Pet can tank anything. Believe it or not. So I'm not concerned about switching that out. I like the Air Pet 1. Later on, it does stuns. Well, I mean, it stuns now, but there's missions later on where you need stuns to break certain mobs, especially in the Lorien Song expansion. So things like that are very useful, and having that extra stun when I do not have any other stuns in my group, except maybe the wizard, is very beneficial. So that is kind of, a really good benefit of having the Air Pet. Now, I don't give it any pet or any items. I don't do anything other than whatever it's summoned with at the moment. I give him weapons sometime, but I just can't be bothered sometimes. And then I have Surge of Shadow. So this is a short duration damage shield and spell feedback effect. I don't know what the spell feedback effect is, but the damage shield, I throw it on Hobbs, my tank. It's a 10-minute extra damage shield. Seems to stack with all the other stuff, so it seems pretty nice. And then I have a Summon Blazing Rod. Oh, Blazing Orb. So this summons this orb right here, the Blazing Orb, which allows me to right-click it to cast a 4K nuke, 10 charges. And I'm going to use this for a while. Eventually, I'll get rid of it for Alliance if I decide to bring in another Mage, like I kind of plan to at 125, replacing the Wizard, and maybe a third Mage to do all the Alliance stuff, right? Which is far more damage than anything this group here can do right now. So definitely, this is very beneficial. It's in my assist button here. Use the Blazing Rod or Blazing Orb, and it just does that. So I have to manually click on the summon the orb, which can get kind of tedious and annoying since I do box this character and I barely look at its screen, other than making sure that mod rods and Blazing Rods are always up. Speaking of, well, no, the next one, I guess. Gather Magnitude is the next spell. This is our, it's like Harvest for the Wizard. It just takes mana from thin air and gives it to us. I find the Mage has some issues, at least for the way I play, with not stopping. Later on, we're going to have some mana issues. Now, using a two-hander kind of increases that issue a lot, but using a one-hander, I don't know if this one has it on it. Yeah, here we go. This one has it. So if you get a one-hander that has these, return mana to you every time you cast a damaging spell, procs. I mean, this one has three procs on it. So it's kind of crazy. That is going to save you a lot of mana, especially having a shield, because the shields later on have more than 4 mana regen on them. That might just be like how this, this tier is really low mana. 4 mana regen on a shield's pretty nice. Having the extra mana regen is going to be something I kind of strive for. So you'll be seeing that I'll be bandoliering when we get to the configure, when I can craft this stuff. I'll be bandoliering a two-handed arcane staff and a one-handed mace or dagger, whatever it is, to get that extra mana back. And that is going to be kind of the way I go from this point forward. So when I'm low on mana, I'm going to use the dagger and shield, whatever it is, and then after that, I'll switch to the two-hand when I'm good on mana. So it's going to be a little bit more effort to go into it, but definitely something worth doing, because the extra damage you get from the two-hander proc is really nice. I don't think I have one on me. My other persona, well, there's the conflagrant staff, right? It's a 9,000 proc on that one, and then the Valium threaded one, which is the COV group one, 12,000 proc. So and that's sympathetic, right? So I can cast it without meleeing, so there's a chance of that. So that's kind of the benefit there, but ideally long term you'd want to be meleeing all the mobs you possibly can with the mage. Let's see here, what's next? Mass Phantasmal Transvergent, which is just another mod rod. I use both mod rods. Well, I don't anymore, apparently. I took it out. I was having issues with having to them, but typically I try to run both mod rods. But I think I put in the Blazing Orb instead, so that's just a dead spell slot at this point. And then I have Call of Heroes rank 2. Now this is my favorite spell. This is the #1 reason why I would run mages over any other class as a box. This spell alone, the mage could do 0 damage, and just have this spell, I would still have at least one in my group. That is how strong this spell is. It is a fantastic spell, and it is great. It's some Call of Heroes the entire group to your location. In my 125 group with my paladin, I run 3 mages, so I can really cheese some things by running a mage to different spots in the zone. I can Call a hero the entire group all the way around to different places, and do some crazy stuff with different zones by having a mage in different zones and just Call hearing groups to groups, right? It is a very interesting way to do things, but I really enjoy it. And then finally I have Phantasmal Symbiosis. This is a mana regen spell that is really good. Like, I don't know what it is about this spell, but let's take a look at this here. We'll see how much mana regen it gives. I feel like it's just really overpowered. I already have it on. So what am I at? 755. So it's almost 15 points of mana regen. Almost 50 points, right? So definitely crazy. And that's Voice of Perception, which is I believe that's the 120 clarity. So mana regen is very important to the class, so definitely keep that in mind. All right, so that's the spells I normally use, like, without doing anything. Now we have other spells we like to keep up. Arcane Distillect is our pet aura. So this will, let me open it up here. Creates an aura that improves your pet damage. Now, it's not just my pet. Every pet in my group gets this aura, right? Because that's how auras work. You can see here, like on my Shadow Knight pet. I think that's what that is. He has it too. So everybody gets increased damage on the pets. So that's the first bonus, right? Next up, I don't even know if this is the right tier one. Yeah, Circle of Flameskin. This is the current tier. Group Damage Shield. I keep this up at all times. If not this one, I have a higher level one from another character. But it doesn't really matter too much at this point. 100 to 125, there's only a handful of upgrades to it. So definitely always have damage shield up at all times, unless you're in a situation where damage shield just annoys you, like I was in some of the House of Thule episodes. Next up, I have Ice Flame Eminence, which is, let me click on here, level 99 spell. This will cloak our pet in Ice Flame Ward, which will cause damage to any creature that strikes it. So it gives the pet a damage shield, and it gives it a chance to proc something back and give it some defensive bonus. Now, this spell alone, I feel like, really helps the pet tank. Right now, I feel like the pet has, let's say this pet has 1,000,000 hit points, right? And my Shadow Knight has like 150,000. Like, I feel like that's how it is, right? It's probably not that actual ratio, but the pet can tank for a while. Now, I've in my experience from 1 to 125 doing this multiple times on mages, I find that the air pet is just the all-around general use pet that is just perfect for my gameplay. And having this buff on at all times really helps out. So it's just something there. And if you want to go a step further with more tanking, use the earth pet with this, and he's unkillable. It's insane. But I like to actually tank. And then finally, I have Burnout. I believe the current one is this one, Burnout 11. Yes, Burnout 11. So this will increase the pet haste, pet damage, attack, armor class, and strength. Now this just makes the pet even more beefier and stronger. It's just all around good. We get a new Burnout every 5 levels, typically at the first level. So I'm currently 100. At 101, I'll get a new version. So on and so on. Always upgrade as soon as possible. Alright, so that is all those spells that I cast. Now, I do have, I don't know if these are updated, but the bags of weapons, I do have macros for these, as you can see here. Grant Fright Forge, I think this is a lower tier one. I haven't upgraded these yet because I haven't used them, in all honesty. And what this does is it will, like, I can target, let's say, no regard here. I'll target him and I'll just say weapons, right? It memorizes Fright Forge armaments. I tell the group, so I don't know where my group chat goes. There we go. Casting, summon weapons on no regard. I like the text in there so I can kind of see what they're doing from other characters. It really helps out when I'm, I click this and I go to somewhere else, go to a different screen, right? When I'm playing normally, I'm clicking like this, constantly switching between characters, almost like you're alt tabbing, just to do different things on each different screen outside of the multi-bind. And then, see, that just casts that, does that. So I do that for the weapon, the armor, and the visor. So the visor, let's see if I can target me real quick and get the visor. Come on. There we go. All right, so we got the visor. So the visor is a nice weapon, or a piece of armor, right? It gives a bunch of attack, it gives some stats, and it gives some haste. Now, I believe he comes with it already. Yeah, he already comes with it. So I don't have to do that, but so the Beast Lord pet, like this one right here, he doesn't have it, so I can give it to him, and he's gonna be a happy boy. The Necromancer, the Shaman, the Shadow Knight, and the Beast Lord pets all require these weapons to just equal half the power of what the Mage pet just comes pre-summoned with. Here, let's do the weapon bag real quick, and I'll kind of show those two. These are kind of cool. So, like, when you do this, right, it summons a weapon or a bag, right? See, it's this orange bag. Let's open up our thing here. Now, if you think about it, like, what can I do with a bag? Put it in my inventory. Now I click it like that, unfold it. Now I have another bag. I can't do anything with it. I can't put it in my thing. If you hold down Control and left click, it'll throw everything in the bag into your inventory. Now you get it summons different weapons, and depending on who you talk to, I've seen it. I've seen people go either way. Giving a pet a proc weapon will lower its damage, but it just depends on what the proc is. And I'm looking for it. There we go. No, that's not it. This one right here. Increase your target's hatred. I like to give my pets the rage swords, the ones that are that don't do damage really. That they increase the aggro. So it's kind of cheesery. So I do it on my 125 mages, but I give all the pets the taunt weapons, right? And I go pull with my paladin, right? And I send all the pets on there, and then I just go pull again with my paladin, and the pets hold aggro and they don't die because I have a cleric that's doing more AoE heals than anybody else in the game. It's crazy. It's a very interesting way to play, and it's definitely fun to kind of do stuff like that and use the, just play as a paladin that's got mage pets to pretty much kill everything. But I digress. Giving the weapons is, it's, some say it's not good, some say it is. One thing you can do, create item, summon weapon. These like summon daggers here. These I hear are safe to give pets because the stats don't really matter on that weapon. Unless it has like HP or something like that. So just having no proc is good. So it just depends on how you do that there. You can, I believe, like give like NPC weapons like this right here, but it has a proc on it. So you're gonna want something like something that does not have a proc. But I have seen people give flagrant weapons to pets, and it's not really a big deal. So it just depends on what you want to do with your stuff. I like in a group setting, I don't think it matters at all. 100% does not matter in a group. I cannot imagine it would matter at all. But you never know. I haven't parsed it and I have not put in the effort, but I have 3 125 mages. So maybe that's a video I can do where I do the parsing between with pet weapons, with normal no procs, with procs, and do a video. So that'll be something maybe I'll do later on. But that's the spells. I can't think of anything else there. Now, my multi-bind is pretty simple. I do host developments first, which is our swarm pet. 3 swarm level 102 elementals go out. Then I do relentless servant, which is another swarm pet. Then I do twin cast, and then I do mini, and then I do fickle, and then I do spear. All right, pretty basic. If you go anywhere, that's probably this typical mage flow for playing a mage. Then I do force of elements on cooldown. This is just a 16,000 AA nuke. And then I have companion shielding in here because I do have pet taunt on, and I might as well keep my pet shielded so he takes less damage, and I just do that on cooldown. And it kind of works into the flow of everything. Like once that's down, like everything just kind of works really well. Then I have a Servant of Row, which is just a big giant fire elemental that nukes for what, 15,000. It's pretty crazy. And then I have Companions of Necessity, which summons some taunting pets to taunt and it does area taunt and stuff like that. So it's kind of beneficial. Just pulls the aggro off the tank. And then that's that. And then I have Turned Summoned, which just does a summon nuke. Now it's in my multi-bind, and if I'm not fighting something that can be hit by this, i.e. a summon mob, it does nothing. So it doesn't affect me in any way. And then I have a pet swarm attack here, because I used to have to use the other mod rod in there, but for some reason these extra macros don't really work as well outside the first initial 4 and 5 here. So I don't know. I haven't really put much effort into figuring out why it doesn't work sometimes. But with that said, that is my multi-bind. And I guess if I haven't explained it ad nauseum yet, a multi-bind is where you take all the keys on one hotbar and bind them to the same button. In my case, I've bound all the buttons to 2 buttons, 4 and 5. So when I hit 5 or 4, every single button on this bar, every single button up to right here, activate on every time I push the button. All right, so that's how that works. Let's see here. That's spells. That's the thing there. I guess we can talk about burns. So I do silent casting, Heart of the Skyfire, Spire of whatever that is, Spire of Elements. Here, let's do it like this. So the silent casting lowers our aggro on all our spells. Heart of Skyfire increases our spell damage by 125%. Spire increases our crit chance by 21% on does some other things. And then we have improved twin cast, which allows us to twin cast up to 16 spells for 2 minutes. So that's a lot of damage coming out right there. And then we have Forceful Rejuvenation, which will reset any spell timers that are down, which I don't believe any of these spells will reset. Maybe Gather Magnitude, maybe. Twin Cast is not affected by that. And then, see here, Forceful Rejuvenation, and then Burn 2, which is the second tier here. So, Focus Arcanum, which just is a resist debuff. Focus of the Thaumaturge here. Thaumaturge is focus. This, what does this do? Increases the base damage of our magic direct damage spells by 38 to 45%, and increases our crit chance by 10%, and increases the mana cost. Now it says magic spells, and I've never really noticed that before. Magic, so I don't know if that means the fire spells are not affected by that, or it's only the magic line of the steel bolt or whatever it is, which I do not cast. And then Frenzied Companion, which is right here, just turns our pet into a psychotic pet that does significantly more damage, and that lasts for 108 seconds. So it's pretty good. And then use 17, which is our breastplate, which causes our pet to flurry and empowers our next direct damage spell by 2,250, 16 times. And then I have Blood Drinker's Coating in here for some reason. I think that's just from when I copied it. But that is a melee life tap clicky item. So that's kind of interesting that I still have that in there. And then Burn 3, which is nothing but Intensity of the Resolute, which I don't really use at all. All right, let's see here. That is all of that. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about gear. Gear is my gear sucks. It is the Call of the Forsaken, which I believe is not even. It's like Reign of Fear gear that you can buy in Call of Forsaken. It's not that great. I just like I'm at the point where I'm waiting for drops to drop, and since I'm in House of Thule, I'm not really getting any upgrades because I've already surpassed that. So it's I'm not gonna get any new stuff until I start doing a new expansion, right? And the only other option is tower gear. So I do have some level 95 tower gear, which I've had since level 95. It is pretty serviceable, right? Like it's not as good as what would be like a level 100 version of this. If it existed, there's no 105 version. There is no level 100 version. So it is what it is there, but like I don't even have the right shards in some of these things. These all should be brilliant, and they're all erudite for some reason. I think when I did some persona swapping, and Augs got changed, and then I just shipped off the extra Augs to different characters, and I never, you know, really paid much attention to it. So it is what it is there. Like, these shouldn't be this, but they still have mana regen, they still have mana on them. They just don't have heroic anything that's useful. I'm going to go heroic stamina on this character because heroic intelligence I don't think does much. I think it'll give me like 2,000 mana overall with, you know, max heroic stamina, but I just don't feel like it's going to be worth it. I want the survivability, really, and that's really where that's going to go long term. And let's talk about that again. So you can see this robe here does not have a Type 5 slot because Type 5s do not come out until the Broken Mirror. But all of the tower gear has slots for Type 5s. And yeah, so there's kind of a catch-22 right there. You know, you can't really use it till you get it. And we are still in an expansion before they came out, so there are no Type 5 Augs to get. Now, my Shadow Knight has TBM armor, so he has Type 5s, but there's just how it is. Don't have any yet, but we will eventually. All right, so that is all the spells. That is all that. That is gear. The most important gear pieces are the arms. Here, with this, the arms focus, which is the way we get more damage throughout all the levels for our fire nukes. The helmet, on the other hand, should do the magic nukes. And that's about it, really, if you think about it. Like, there's no other ones that you can do. Now, there are Type 3 Augs, but I don't think we have any spell slots for those yet. And we'll talk about those later. But throughout the levels, going forward, you're going to always want the arms upgraded first. So if you can get raid arms, those are going to be good for a while for whatever level you are and stuff like that. Like, I believe I have the raid arms and they're like 160% extra damage or 170% extra damage on one of my mages. So that it's a significant upgrade. And I don't really cast a magic nuke, but if I did, let me see here, where is it at? This one, Blister Steel Malinosia. Blister Steel Manistelia. Triggers both Malocinia and Shock of Blister Steel. So that's kind of a double nuke right there. Like if I do this one, was its damage 22k plus it puts Mallow on the mob. I mean, that's kind of nice, right? Like, you know, Mallow on the mob right there. So, you know, that's kind of nice in that regard. Plus, it, you know, gives a little bit of damage too. So that could be something I put in my multi-bind, but I just don't like, it's instant recast, I believe. So it doesn't really work with how I play too well. It's a 5-second actually, so I might be able to play with that. But I don't know. But typically this is how I play right here. So, you know, where's my Shadow Knight? So let's get him a target. That's not the Shadow Knight. All right, so he has a target. All my buttons are based on targeting X target 19, which is his target. So the only button I'm pushing right now is 5. You can see all the AAs start activating. Turn summoned won't because these aren't summoned. You can start seeing all the pets get in there. There's a bunch of pets there. There we go. We start seeing the damage. For some reason they're like canceling spells. I don't know. Like hitting the button too fast. There we go. Thick Will Magma. Twin cast that. Wow. Critical twin cast, 130k, 132k times 2. That's insane. Force of elements, 79 crit. You know, this is just crazy damage, right? And if we look over the melee, you can see there's just 3,200, 6,500, just tons of damage coming out from these pets. It's insane. Definitely a high damage class in that regard. And in the, what is that? I got one more class video to do, and then we'll do the group video with everybody in. I think we're gonna do Licinium, and we'll see, you know, who's the top damage in my group, and kind of how it all flows and how it all works together in actual gameplay. But that is pretty much how I play my level 100 Mage. I find this class to be one of the best in the game, and definitely the most boxing friendly class when it comes to some of the stuff you can do with this class. But if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. But thank you very much for watching, and please have a fantastic day.